Hi everyone, today we're going to be making muffins, a staple around here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather all of my ingredients. But before I do that, I'm going to get my trusted recipe. So the one I'm looking for today is called Banana Chunk Muffins. And I will post this down below in the description later. Okay, so I need a half a cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg. So let me get those ingredients first. I better preheat the oven to 350. Okay, next I need baking soda, sour cream, which might be a strange ingredient to most of you, but it actually gives it that nice moist texture. Okay, so I've got the flour out, the baking soda, sour cream, I need to get baking powder, and then I need to get 3 ripe and the chocolate chips. Okay, so I have all of my ingredients now. I'm going to get my bowls. I'm going to need a medium, a large, and a small bowl for the sour cream mixture. I'm going to get out my cooling racks. My muffin tins. I don't bother lining the muffin tins with those little paper cups. I just spray them and then I take them out right away and I wash them up right away. Just try to keep it simple around here. Okay, so I need to cream the butter and the sugar first. So I need a half a cup of butter. I just use margarine. That's what we have in this house. Next we need 1 cup of sugar. I have tried in the past to substitute maple syrup. That does also work, so you could try that if you don't want to use sugar. And I also try to clean up as I go. So after I use an ingredient, I'll put it away just to kind of keep my counter clear. Not quite 1 cup, but my family's sweet enough, so that'll do. Need to refill the sugar later. Okay, so I just go ahead and I stir that, get that mixed in. If you need to warm up the margarine, you can do that. Mine's soft enough, I don't really need to do that this morning. But if you do use butter, you'll need to soften your margarine in the microwave for maybe 20 seconds. Okay, so here's the consistency so far of my margarine and sugar mixture. Okay, next we're going to add the egg and bananas. So these are 3 ripe bananas I just had on my countertop. Sometimes if I have ripe bananas, I'll throw them in my freezer. And then I'll just pull them out a couple hours before I want to make bananas and let them thaw out. I'm just going to peel them, break them into chunks, and throw them in the bowl. And then I'm going to get a fork and I'm going to mash it all up together. I like to pull the strings off the bananas. Maybe that's just me being picky. All right, last banana, in we go. Just tidy up a bit. My dog Rosie's an opportunist, so she's right here at my feet just waiting for me to drop something. Okay, so I'm going to just grab a fork. I'm going to smash my bananas with my fork, mash them up. And then mix in the egg. So that's looking pretty good. So this is the consistency of my mixture so far with the bananas, the sugar, the egg, and margarine. A small separate bowl, mix baking soda and sour cream. So sour cream and baking soda. So I need 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Right, there's my oven, it's preheated. Baking soda. And next we need 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Every little bit. Okay, next I'm just going to get a small spoon and I'm going to mix this mixture here. Kind of makes a chemical reaction. So this mixture looks like this, okay, when I'm done. So just made a little bit fluffy. Okay, so then I'm going to combine this with my wet mixture over here. So here's the mixture so far. All right, next on the list are the dry ingredients. So I need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So baking powder, 2 teaspoons. I'm just gonna wipe this out. All right. Okay, then I need 1 3/4 cup of flour. So I usually like to just give my flour a little stir, just to aerate it. Here's 1 cup. And 3/4 cup. All right, then I go ahead and give that dry mixture a little stir. Okay, then I pour the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. I don't think that order really matters. Give it a good mix. Maybe I should have used a bit bigger of a bowl. Don't want to get too wild with my mixing. Okay, it's starting to get nice and thick, nice batter consistency. So this is what my mixture looks like so far. The next ingredient that I'm going to put in are the chocolate chips. My kids love chocolate chips. I just kind of eyeball it and put in the amount of chocolate chips that I think my kids would like. If you want to measure out half a cup or something like that, that would be reasonable. Walnuts are optional if you want to put nuts in. I usually don't make this with nuts so that I can pack them in my kids' lunches at school because they have to have a nut-free environment at school. So I usually get the big chocolate chip bag from Costco. Alright, so I got my mixture ready to go and I'm going to go ahead and put it in my muffin tins. So I usually start with the small muffin tins. And then whatever's left over I put in the large muffin tins. You can do all large muffin tins or all small muffin tins. These are just the tins that I have. So I just use what I've got. I keep it simple around here. Okay, so I'm going to use the rest of the batter to make the larger muffins. Slide these off to the side. Top that last one up there. Okay, so this recipe made 12, 24 plus 6 large muffins. So if you had another small tin, it would probably make 36 of the small muffins. All right, so I'm gonna pop this in the oven. So my oven runs a bit hot. My recipe says bake for 22 minutes, but I've been finding that about 18 is right for this particular oven. So this is warmer than my oven at the other house. Okay, I'm gonna set the timer for 18 minutes and then I'll check on them. If you want to halfway switch the muffins from the bottom to the top, you can. It's entirely up to you. I usually don't. All right, we'll check on that in 18 minutes. All right, here the muffins are. All right, the muffins are out. We're gonna let them cool on the cooling rack here for a few minutes. Got some hungry kids ready to go, wanting these muffins. So I'll let that cool for about 5 minutes and then I will take them out and let them cool for a few more minutes on the drying rack, or the cooling rack.
Well, this is where I had to switch to a voiceover. I thought I'd try something a little different and chat while I baked. But right about now, my kids came running in from outside with a few of their friends. They could smell the muffins baking, and let's just say it got a little too noisy to keep the original audio. These turned out so nicely. They're soft, fluffy, and packed with banana flavor and chocolate chips. As you can probably guess, they didn't last very long. My kids and their friends had these devoured in no time. We were lucky enough to save one for my husband when he got home from work. If you give this recipe a try, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps support my channel. Those were really good. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.